One of the most gifted musicians in America is a man by the name of Maynard Ferguson. Gifted not just for his music, but for his ability to survive the many changes in music down through the years from the 50s, the 60s, and now the 70s. We want to show you Maynard Ferguson at work in a recording studio here in New York recently.
I love the ending.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. Come on, keep that. That's nice. Okay, let's go from the top.
Come on.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Maynard has just recently turned 50, and incidentally, a Father's Day note. When he travels about these days, he's always at the side of his daughter, Kim Ferguson, who's 26 years old, the oldest of the 5 Ferguson children. And for 3 years now, she has been her father's manager. But back to a little more of Maynard Ferguson and his music.
And then I did the double hatchet then.
Very nice.
And while that's still echoing, right, I go. So the two are going at once, right?
Well, for anyone who would believe that recording is a highly disciplined craft, I guess that we pretty well destroyed those illusions here.
Yes, well, I tell you what, just as I have a family that is my family, I think of my band as a family. We all get along, as you can see right there. Nobody's particularly uptight or screaming or carrying on. As a matter of fact, it's a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun with the crew, too, because one of your guys is a fine trumpet player. Did you know that?
Yeah. Kim is the 26-year-old eldest member of the Ferguson family, and you're an extremely tight-knit group. You're the manager for your father. How did that happen?
It was a fluke. It all started out, I just came out on the road for a couple of weeks and developed into being the manager about 6 months later.
What does a manager of a band like Maynard Ferguson's outfit do? I mean, what are some of the things that you have to do?
Well, it started out being in the road area of it, booking hotels and payroll and keeping the schedules moving. Then we got a road manager, and now it's getting Maynard into new areas where he wants to go. He's on the road 9 months of the year, but he's also getting involved in doing soundtrack albums and for movies, and he's producing his own albums now, so I've been involved in putting those things together for him.
Excuse me, but you sound like a regular agent.
Isn't he terrific?
And you're a client.
I
got to get Maynard on the road. I mean, after all, we got to get him into some new sounds. We got his career to worry about. Do you get the regular rate of pay that a regular road manager would get?
I can't wait for this answer.
Well, he won't tell me what other people get, so I don't know.
Oh, a low blow.
No, I've no complaints.
But you were traveling together as a family and extremely close-knit, and you're now in your middle 20s, attractive young woman with great capabilities who go off and do a lot of things. You choose to continue to work with your father at a time when the family is under assault. We're going to show you some videotape now of Kim just sitting at her father's side, kind of looking in. I want you to, if you can, describe the meaning in your life of that kind of a relationship, and maybe some of the assaults that you felt or some of the temptations that might have been coming your way to split off from your family along the way. Can you talk about that?
Well, I was away from my family very young and then came back. We've been working very close together for the last 3 years, and I don't think I could have had an education like that anywhere else, because it's your father who's training you. It's almost like the old days of being an apprentice in your family business, and I can see the value of it.
These things work two ways, Maynard. What have you learned from your children? And
well, of course, that's one of the things when I teach in the schools and lecture, is I kind of almost warn the older musician that he must also remember to learn from the young. Now, I'm a terrific businessman about once a month. And that means I'm a terrible businessman, of course, because I'm inconsistent. That isn't what I want to do. And Kim totally amazes me because I feel she has a love for her work, whether that would include her also doing other ventures on her own and whatever. She has that same thing that I have as a performer, musician. She loves what she does. And this thing was a toy when I was 9 years of age, and it's a toy at 50. And I don't think anybody should get into this or any other business unless it's a thing of love and joy. I am not dedicated to this because dedication means something serious. And I once thought that if my destiny had been different and I had become the world's greatest classical trumpet player, I still wouldn't be a serious musician.
It probably isn't a felony, but it's at least a misdemeanor to have you on a program and not ask you to, once you have that in your hand, to hit a few notes for us.
All right. Okay.
The chops are a little cold, but we'll go ahead and hit it. Huh?
Okay. Wow, that's early.
Well, it's not revelry, folks, but it'll get you out of bed on a high note this morning. Maynard Ferguson and daughter Kim, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Kim obviously rather good at what she does, too. She's booked Dad into the Newport Jazz Festival a little later this month. And we'll be back for another message right after this.